Hello and welcome to the Runescape video that I'm going to make this week. I should have had a better intro. Don't mind me, I'm a little tired right now. So, last week we covered melee combat, and we covered my base understanding of it, not an in-depth understanding of it, but a base understanding of it. So today, we're going to be covering ranged, prayer, and magic. Now, I'm not going to go into in-depth detail on this. There are guides out there to go in-depth on it. The base understanding, what I want to kind of cover is how there's a difference between melee and then magic, ranged, and prayer. Now, prayer itself is you bury bones. I have a set of bones in my... Yeah. You bury bones, you get some prayer experience, and it levels up. And basically, all prayer does is it's enhancing your offense or defense in any particular skill in a sense. So if you bring up the prayer tree, right, you get defensive rating, melee strength, melee attack rating, range strength, range attack rating, magic strength, magic attack rating, and then restore stats except for prayer and summoning, health, store an extra item, more defenses, and things like that, reducing damage. Like, it's all a defensive style thing or an offensive thing. It's just enhancing your melee, ranged, or attack. Now, when I'm going to specify these things, enhancing, it drains your prayer points, so you have to recharge them. So it's not something you can infinitely use. You obviously, if you turn on, let's say, your protection from ranged, you see it starts draining points away. Eventually, you will have to use a prayer potion or visit an altar and get those points restored. They don't restore over time. That's one thing that you will always have to do, is go out and restore the points. Now, there's some places to do this quickly, and then there's other places that you will have to walk to. Obviously, you can bring up your mini map. You can go into... Why don't I remember it completely? I think it's under facilities, and it is a altar. And there you go. You see altars lit up. These are the places you can go restore your prayer points. Not too much to cover in prayer other than bury bones. There's faster ways to do it. There's slower ways to do it. There's things like that. Obviously, I was over here. I was cutting down some maple trees because I want to level my fletching up to 75, I think it is, but that's a different story. Here's where ranged combat and magic combat differs from melee combat, right? Melee combat, you equip a sword, you equip some armor, you run headfirst into stuff and hope it dies. Well, no, you don't hope it dies, you just kill it, right? That's the point. Ranged combat, on the other hand, requires you to have ammunition, bolts, right? Adamite bolts, rune bolts, iron arrows, Adamite arrows, rune arrows. You get arrows to kill the targets that you want to kill, right? These are a resource that you have to replenish. You do that by fletching or buying from the Grand Exchange. Personally, as you level up in ranged, you want to use the highest bow, which right now I have a U. I could be using magic at this point, but I'm actually using a rune two-handed crossbow that I have somehow misplaced. I don't know how I misplaced it, but I have a rune two-handed crossbow somewhere. I just don't know where in my bank at this moment. I know it's not equipped. Rune. Let's try this one. Let's go crossbow. Rune crossbow. There it is. Found it. I found it. Okay. And it is in the magic tab, or the range tab. There it is. It's rune two-handed crossbow. That's the one I'm using right now, for whatever reason. Except when I go hunt dragons, which then I use my one-hander with this anti-dragon breast shield. But you need to have ammunition that does deplete. It's not like you equip one arrow and you simply have it. So you do have to make multiple arrows. Obviously, I've been making arrows and bolts and things like that for myself to play. The reason I specify that the bolts are important is because the faster you kill things, the less damage you take, means the more things you get to kill before having to return to a bank, means the less food you have to take. Now, obviously, there's things like, there's going to be a certain point where you go to hunt something and you're going to have to take food. You're going to kill 2 or 3 of them before having to go back get more food and go back to it. Eventually, like, there are bossing experiences and things like that I haven't even touched yet in RuneScape, and I won't probably touch it for quite a while because I'm still working on building up a decent money pool to be able to buy armor and things like that, and risk sacrificing my character for killing bossing for the fun fact. Now, there's not a whole lot to cover. The same thing I covered in the armor section. I'm using black dragon hide. Body. I don't know why it says 60. I thought I could equip. I thought I was already equipping that at 50. Maybe it's combat level 60? I don't know. Hold on a second. This seems kind of weird. I know I equipped this. Yeah. Okay. Maybe 100% real dragon. Okay. Weird. I don't understand, but I don't know why it says 60 because you can wear that at 50. I'm not 60 range yet. Oh, but I'm 60 defense. Duh! Anyway, moving on. Had a blonde moment. So, now that I've had my moment of not understanding my own self, let's move on from range because it's not a whole lot to cover. I mean, there is the range tab that gives you things. I don't have a bow equipped, but I can switch this to my ranged, where you get like ability shots, right? Things like that. You get your ultimate. I personally just use piercing shot, snipe shot, snapshot, and occasionally I'll use rapid fire, but I let the game auto cast its own things. There's not a whole lot to cover in ability wise. It's pretty much like if you're using the legacy mode, it just fires bolts. You have a good time. Not a whole lot to cover in it. The abilities are nice. I like them. I like the way ranged feels. That's about it. That's all I can cover in it. Magic combat, on the other hand. This is a beast of a different game. And I specify beast of a different game because you have your magic abilities, which are on my page 3, right? Which obviously, is that an empty space? It is an empty space. Okay, so there's impact, combust, which puts a dot over time for 6 seconds. Asphyxiate, which I love, it strangles someone. It's so fun to just strangle something. Wild magic, which fires an unpredictable double magical attack at your target, which deals between 50 and 250% of your active spell damage. Cool! I didn't realize that. 20-second cooldowns, threshold ability. And then there's Sonic Wave, which reduces the accuracy. There's other things as well that I don't have equipped on a staff to show. But then you get into the actual base spells. And I specify base spells because, right, these abilities that are on my toolbar right here do not require runes to cast, just to have a magic type weapon equipped, meaning a staff or a wand. I don't think there's any other magic type. There's a tome, but that's an offhand. I don't think you still need to have a staff or a wand equipped. I'm not 100% sure on that because I haven't tested it, so don't quote me there. But they don't require runes to cast. They just get to do things, so you don't have to worry about them. Now, if you're in Legacy Combat, you don't get these. You just have to go based off of your runes. Now, as you could probably see, I put my air runes in the wrong place. There we go. I have a much more air runes than any other rune, right? And the reason for this is because air runes can combine with the staffs to not have to use all these. These runes are essentially here for me to be able to cast my teleport spells or my alchemy spells. These don't matter at all when it comes to them. I have air runes because each spell requires either a fire and air rune, an earth air rune, or water air rune, or just an air rune. So obviously you can get a air battle staff and just cast air strikes. There's air strike, air bolt, air blast, air wave, and then air surge. But as you see, air surge costs 5 air runes to cast. Not that big of a deal if you've got a air battle staff, which is infinite air runes. You don't have to have the equivalent rune to cast. But if you wanted to say cast water surge, you would need 5 air and 5 water runes. Obviously, airs are the easiest to make because when you get up higher in rune crafting, when you take your 28, or if you've done the other things for rune crafting, when you go and convert air runes at an altar, you can get up to 9 times the air runes. So you take one trip at 28 with the max level of air, you can get 180 air runes. It's a rough number because I'm not going to mathematically configure it right now, but like you can get air runes faster than you can get any other rune when rune crafting. So air runes are cheaper than every other rune in the game. And obviously there's be more incentive to use different staffs as you level up and things like that I haven't gotten into yet because I haven't done my research into where is it, weapons, right? So I'm at 50 at 60. There's the Gunthic, Sardwins, Armax staffs, Penance, Trident, Airman staff, Ritual. I don't know what that is. I don't know what any of this stuff is because I haven't done it yet, and I'm nowhere near a match to do it. But I imagine each one of them has their different bonuses and negatives in it. They're obviously, but to cast your spells, your major like damaging spells, because these are what you're gonna use to kill specific monsters. Like when you go and say, oh, I need to go kill something that's weak to earth strikes. Obviously you take an earth rune, or you take an earth staff, and air runes, and you go down there and cast it, because air runes are easier to replenish than anything else. And they're cheaper than any other rune. So, I say, again, if you're going to do magic, make sure you have an equivalent staff to the style of beast you're fighting. Weak to fire, get a fire staff. Weak to earth, get an earth staff. Water staff. Air, obviously just take an air staff. But use the appropriate spell with it. These don't matter to the sense of that, because like some of it is active spell damage, which means if you're casting an earth spell as your auto spell, then they're going to do earth damage. So these shift, aside from, I think it's this one, because it's unpredictable. It says a double magical attack, so that would probably... It's the same thing, yeah, so it follows the same rule. If you're casting an Earth Blast, these will follow Earth-based damage. If you're casting Fire-based damage. Obviously, there's some stuff there. But that's about it to cover in the Prayer, Magic, and Ranged. Now, I might not be doing a RuneScape video next week because Path of Exile is launching its Synthesis League, and I will be focused on that for the better part of 2 weeks, like heavily. Come up, after that I will probably go back to making RuneScape videos on Tuesday as well. I might still do a video and cover a small skill or something else of the sort, but I don't know yet. I don't know what my schedule is going to be like. I do know RuneScape, I will continue making RuneScape videos, same way that I continue making Path of Exile videos. Those are the 2 games I play. I like making videos about them, talking about them, and sometimes the only people I can talk to are my few viewers on YouTube, because my other friends don't play the same game, so it's a little harder to have a conversation with them about something they don't understand. But that's besides the point, guys. Hope you enjoyed my terrible explanation of ranged prayer and magic abilities. You guys have a great one, and we'll see you next time.